Hello students, welcome to this lesson. This is Business Studies, International Trade. I'm Mr. Erastus Juma and welcome to this our lesson. In our previous lesson, we looked at the terms and some of the documents that are used in international trade. And now we want to look at some of the international financial institutions that govern the international trade. Now, when we talk of the international financial institutions, these are some of the institutions that play a role in international monetary system. Remember, for trade to be trade, there must be exchange of goods and services for money. And sometimes huge amounts of money are involved that sometimes may require the intervention of some of the financial institutions. So these are institutions that play key role as far as international trade is concerned. And some of the international financial institutions that we are going to look at include the International Monetary Fund, also known as the IMF, the African Development Bank, the African Development Fund. We have the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which is also known as the World Bank. Now, starting with the International Monetary Fund, you've heard in the recent past Kenya being warned by the International Monetary Fund of the excessive loans that they are taking. Right now, they have said that our country, Kenya, has surpassed the bar that is required for them to borrow. Now, this bank operates like the central bank. Remember, in our topic, money and banking, we looked at the central bank and even the functions of the central bank. Now, this bank operates like the central bank of the central banks of the money of the member countries. And what are the objectives of the IMF? Number one, it ensures that the member country maintains a stable foreign exchange rates for their currencies. You wonder why our exchange rate keep on fluctuating. Sometimes a dollar goes at 102, sometimes it jumps to 106, sometimes it's 101. Now, one major role of the IMF is to ensure that the exchange rate remains stable to increase the supply of their currency so that it can be devalued to increase their value internationally. And another reason or another role of the IMF is that it provides financial support to the member country to alleviate poverty and boost their income. Another one is that they relieve heavily indebted countries of debt repayments so that it can use that fund to raise the living standards of the people. Sometimes a country has engaged in huge debts that they may not be able to settle. So the IMF can come in to assist them in settling such debts so that the amount that this country could have used can be used to improve the living standards. Another role of the IMF is that it provides funds to the member countries to finance the deficit in the balance of payment. We talked of the balance of payment deficit the other time. Another one is that it provides forum through which the member country can consult and cooperate on matters concerning trade among themselves. Another role of IMF is that it maintains currency reserves of the different countries. Remember, I told you when we were looking at the money and banking that the IMF requires every member to have a reserve with them. So it enables member countries to buy foreign exchange to be used to import goods and services. Then another bank that plays role in international trade is the African Development Bank. And it is worth noting that this is an African regional bank. It is a bank that operates within Africa, and its main source of finance is the members' contributions and the interest charged on the money they lend to the members. What are some of the functions of this regional bank? Number one, it provides loans for economic and social development. It also provides technical advice in planning and implementation of the development plans. It assists member countries to appropriately exploit their resources. There are certain countries that do not have the resources to exploit some of their resources. So they have a lot that cannot be exploited because of inadequate funds. It also encourages cooperation among African countries in order to bring economic growth. It also assists member countries to cooperate within various economic institutions in order to bring about development, especially in African countries. Then we have the African Development Fund. This was formed to provide long-term financial assistance to the low-income countries that cannot obtain loans from other financial institutions at the prevailing terms and conditions. There are certain international banks that offer their loans at very high interest rates, or their terms are so high that certain African countries are not able to meet. So this bank was formed to assist those countries. Their loans may recover in longer repayment periods with no interest except the commitment fees and service charge, which is minimal. Now this bank is of great importance to the African continent or the African countries who are not able sometimes to meet the high interests charged on loans by other financial institutions. Now what is their major activities? They have two major activities. One, they fund education and research activities. They also offer technical advice to the member countries. Those are the two major functions of the African Development Fund: funding development and research activities, and also offering technical advice to the member countries. Then our last one is known as the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, also known as the World Bank. Now, IBRD, as commonly referred, was formed in 1944 as a result of what was known as the Bretton Woods Conference. And this bank was formed to assist the countries to recover as a result of the aftermath of the First and the Second World War. There were great impact, there were great disadvantages that countries experienced as a result of the Second World War. And so why was it formed? It was formed to give loans to countries at very low interest rates to finance economic development activities. It was also formed to provide grants to finance the provision of social amenities and basic infrastructural development in developing countries. It was also formed to help in fighting against corruption and poor governance, which may lead to misuse of public funds in different countries. It was also formed to advance money to countries, also to give advice on economic challenges, and finally, it was formed to avail technical assistance and personnel to help countries run their economic activities. That marks the end of our lesson now, and in our next lesson, we will look at what is known as economic integration. Thank you and have a blessed day.